Did you know that 100 out of 100 people are suffering with subscriber phobia? So if you hit the subscribe button, you're cured! Hello gaties and gentlemen, it's Averageteadrinker here, and we have the pre-nerfed version of the 26 Murozond's Rise, and throughout the dungeon I'll be doing my normal tips and tricks on noteworthy mobs and bosses, just to help you better understand what's going on. This is my last dungeon for the Tips and Tricks series this season, and yes, I do know we're a little bit late into the season itself, my bad. I'm also gathering footage on my push to the 0.1% title, and that will be released very soon, where I'll kind of just talk over my thoughts about the dungeon and what's happening, and you'll also get to see me losing my sanity, so win-win. Regarding this dungeon, I'll be showing my talent stats and gear at the start, and I will also link my talents below. Enjoy the bump. So there's two types of mobs here and three mini bosses. So starting off, the vanguards do a frontal called Rending Cleave, and it puts a stackable bleeding dot on you if you do get hit, so just don't stand on your tank. Next is the Magus, which has two different casts, and the most important one, which needs to be kicked or CC'd, is Corroding Volley. This will wipe your group, and once you get past a certain key level, it's going to one-shot you. Next is Epoch Bolt, which just needs to be kicked, and this casts more frequently. First mini boss is Spurlock, this sneaky little snake. He dashes to a target normally in range and begins casting Binding Grasp, which needs to be kicked. This can also only be kicked inside the Shrouding Sandstorm, as it is LOS outside of the zone.
Dash. 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 Dash.
Next mini boss is Velo, the Chad looking stone man. Two things: dodge the brown swirlies on the ground as they'll hurt you and knock you up, and also don't send cooldowns into the pack once he casts Titanic Bulwark, as everything takes 50% reduced damage, so that's a big no-no right there. You can use this to your advantage though. If you do see Corroding Volley going off or casts going on you, you can just dip into the Bulwark and just reduce your own damage taken by 50%. Last but definitely not least is the Maiden. This is the most brutal mob in this area for two things. First being the constant damage from Ancient Radiance until she is killed. Next is the Orb of Contemplation, and this can be deceiving as after it's fired out it does come back to her, and if you're a Zug Zug tunneler like me, if you ain't on my screen, I've already forgotten about you, so be wary of the direction of when it does come back. I'd also send my defensives on the cast of Ancient Radiance, and then I would just fire out an AG to help the healer, and use your consumes if you are dipping low. Tier, the Gatekeeper of Pugs. Few things to take note of so you don't deplete. First thing is the group soak called Dividing Strike. You should rotate some defensives on this. Something which can also make the soak a little bit spicy is if you do have the debuff Spark of Tear. Normally if I'm last to be dispelled, I save Astral or I'll send AG straight away just to keep myself topped up, so then I can also help out with the group soak. But if you are super low, you can let the other 4 members soak instead. There are 2 frontals on this boss as well. There's one for the tank, so just don't stand on him, otherwise you'll be yeeted off the platform. And then the other is Infinite Annihilation, which goes out on a random party member, and it's just going to target them. So if you can, try place yourself towards the edges of the room. And then the last thing is you can use Windrush Totem just to help yourself and others get the little orbs and get your juicer haste buff.
Soak. Frontal. 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 Soak. Frontal. Frontal. Frontal.
For the Watchkeeper and the Marauder, you'll want to rotate defensives on the Infinite Fury cast, because this spell hits particularly hard. You'll also want to dodge the swirlies from Timeless Curse, and then for the Marauder, you have to kick Displaced Chrono Sequence, otherwise they're going to get a thick shield. And if no CC is going out, you also have to dodge the lines of Infinite Schism, but you can stop the cast with CC. If you're a perfect specimen of a human and you come out of the gauntlet first, just quickly waddle your little butt towards the middle of the room before you start channeling on the orb, because you're going to start the RP for the dragon, and that could potentially save you a deplete by a few seconds, you never know. Same thing here again though, just dodge the swirlies on Timeless Curse and focus down the Watchkeeper dragon, as we do not want continued casts of Infinite Fury. So for this whole area, don't stand in the sand poop. The Rift Mages have a cast called Temporal Blast, so make sure to focus target this and get those casts kicked. If you do mass pull all the little gremlins, just maybe pop a defensive and send AG just to keep yourself topped, because if you have loads of them, they're just going to all go off at the same time and potentially may kill you. The Anomaly is also in this part of the dungeon, so make sure you use defensives for Bloom if you're not dispelled, as this hits really hard. And also dodge the frontal of the Anomaly called Untwist. This is usually on the tank. Usually. We did skip this as it's quite common to do so nowadays, but if you do end up pulling it, make sure to stop the cast of Millennium Aid, and also kick and CC the Dizzying Sands casts, and dodge the fire swirlies. For discount Chromie, she does a frontal on the tank called Sandblast, so don't be on top of the tank. Pretty quickly after the fight starts, she casts More Problems, which makes clones of herself, and just to make this easier to find, you can hide your interface and use the ping system for the correct clone. She will also spawn clones of you called Familiar Faces, and this needs to be CC'd after they become alive. Earthbind and Cap Totem are great if you're lacking of a CC. Once they move into the sand puddles as well, a debuff will go out called Time Traps, and this is where you'll want to rotate your defensives, because if multiple go off in a short time frame, it stacks the debuff. So if you can, try delay your own stack or your own clone, just to reset it back to 1, and in the intermission, dodge the frontals and don't stand in front of any of her clones.
Hide and seek.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Frontal. 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 Hide and seek. Frontal.
Same again here, you may skip these wiggly worms like I do, but if you don't, just interrupt Time Beam and CC the casts. If you also pull the opposite side of the boss, make sure to kick Rocket Bolt Volley, don't stand in the tank frontal called Electro Juiced Giga Blast, and dodge the swirlies. The trash before the boss, I'd say the only real danger is getting hit by the mortars. Other than that, it's just kicking the heel from the 3 horses, and then interrupting Rallying Shout. So for time lost paddle field, you'll want to bait the shockwave cast towards the edges of the room, so stand between the boss and the edge. You'll want to rotate defensives on Warcry, and if you also get the bleed dots rated axe from the axe thrower, focus this mob down because it is a high priority target and use defensives on that cast. Same with the archer on the alliance side. And then kick the cast from the caster rad, and then use move speed like Spirit Walk and Windrush Totem on Blade Storm. And then for the enhance boys, the little ads which don't have frames can actually have flame shock on them, but you'll want to try save your primordial wave for the ad spawns themselves. But if you just kind of send it on pull, they should always be up for each spawn.
Ads. Ads.
Pirate Dragondos. For phase 1, focus down the Infinite Keepers when they do spawn. I'm not going to talk about how you manage the orb, that's normally a healer or a range problem, unlucky. But the damage side of it, just kind of keep yourself going, keep yourself topped off when the second one's about to drop. Be wary of Chronal Burn from the Keepers, as this does truck you down. Can be dispelled, but just be ready to send a defensive if you need to. Once phase 2 starts, stack as a group and just move together when he casts Infinite Corruption. And just make sure you send your defensives on these casts if the orbs are going off as well. Do not even think about dipping your toe into the sand poop unless extremely needed, say if you have to get back to the boss, but then even then you'll probably die doing it. Last thing is dodging the tank frontal and not running too far ahead of the group when you are maximizing the space from Infinite Corruption of where you drop the poop. Video is coming to the end. I hope the tips were tipping, and I'll mention it again. If you do like the look of my UI, you know, the font and the playthrough and everything else, then it's all available in the Discord for free. Now that the series has come to an end for this season, as mentioned at the start, I'm now going to start making videos on my push to the title on my Shaman, and if you want to catch me live doing that, come follow me on Twitch. I'll always post when I go live in my Discord as well. Thanks for watching, guys and gals. If you did like the video, feel free to subscribe, it helps me out a ton and it doesn't really cost you anything. Special thanks to the Patreon homies, you're helping build this channel even higher with your support. Take it easy everyone, and see you next time.